Welcome to our practice, gathering everything that you might need, and let's come and meet at the front of the mat for Uttanasana. Feet spread the width of the mat, legs firm, pressing down into the heels, hands on the hips. Elbows back, feeling the front chest open. Coming down, as we come down, squeeze the knees and thighs up, roll the inner groins back, and move the cellular chest forward, forward, forward. Keep gripping the legs. And then exhaling, holding onto the elbows and dropping the head right down. Keep the density of the heels. Keep gripping the inner knees up to the inner groins and rolling the inner groins back to the wall behind. With the fingertips on the elbows, pull them down towards the ground. And now try to release the armpits to the elbows. With an exhale, releasing the armpits to the elbows. One more time. And then releasing, placing the hands on the mat and stepping back to Adho Mukha Svanasana with bent knees and the heels lifted. Lift the heels up even higher. Lift the buttocks up, keep the knees bent. And now we're going to straighten the legs and then bend the knees. Straightening the legs and bending the knees. Keep stretching the arms, straightening the legs and bending the knees. Now walking the feet a little bit forward, lifting the heels up again, knees bent. And now we're going to straighten the legs and push the heels down to the ground. Here we go. And bend the knees, lift the heels up. Second time. And bend the knees, lift the heels up. Third, last time. And then walking forward, feet the width of the mat, roots of the thighs firm, holding onto the elbows, hanging Uttanasana. Connecting with our feet, feeling in particular the heels. Over and over again, pressing those heels down in order to better grip the knees and the thighs up and feel the buttocks start to lift to the sky. Keep pulling the elbows towards the earth, lengthening the back neck, and move the armpits towards the elbows. And again. One more time. And then releasing the hands, placing the hands on the hips, elbows back. Pressing into the heels as we come up. And standing in Tadasana. Soft, smooth inhale, soft, smooth exhale. And then turning to face the long edge of the mat. Coming for Utthita Trikonasana. Jumping, taking width, pushing into the outside edges of the feet, hands on the hips, elbows back, the cellular chest lifting and broadening. Going to the right first. Turn the abdomen away from the front leg. Roll that back shoulder back. Roll that back elbow back and follow it. And now stretch the arms and re-extend them even further. Lift the fingertips slightly up. Keep extending the arms, the roots of the thighs firm. Inhale. And as we exhale, keep the abdomen, the lungs rotating to the back arm, the roots of the thighs firm, pushing into the outside edge of that back foot, and come and place the hand where it lands, stretching the top arm to the sky. Now we're going to bend the front leg, and as we bend it, we're going to bring the fingertips to the floor. And when we straighten the leg, we want to straighten from the root of the thigh, not from the knee. So different application. Here we go. Straightening, the hand can come back and suck the root of the thigh into the hip, turn and twist. Bending the knee again. Fingertips to the floor. Straightening, sucking the root of the thigh into the hips, turn and twist. Third and final time. Bending the knee, fingertips to the floor. And straighten and pull the head of that femur bone into the hip sockets and rotate to the sky. Inhaling up. Exhale, hands on hips. Turn back to the middle. Lift the inner arches. Push into the outside edges of your feet. Elbows back. Cellular chest vibrant. Turning to the left-hand side. Stretching the arms. Roots of the thighs firm. Pushing into the outside edge of this back foot. Re-stretch the arms. Lift the fingertips up slightly. Inhale. Exhale, reaching. Keep going with the idea of bringing length to that bottom waist. The femur bones coming into the hip sockets. And coming down and placing the hand. Top arm to the sky, Utthita Trikonasana. Now we're going to bend that front leg, bring the fingertips to the floor, connecting with the root of the thigh. Here we go. Drawing the head of that left femur bone strongly into the hips and turning and twisting. And again, bending that front leg, fingertips to the floor. And as we straighten, sharpening that sensation of the left femur bone coming into the hip socket and twisting from there. Third and final time, bending the knee, fingertips to the floor, and ready, straightening and draw the femur bone into the hip sockets and turn and twist up to the sky. And then coming back up, hands on the hips, turn the feet in, turn the toes in, the heels slightly out, re-lift the inner arches of the feet, the inner ankles, and feel under your fingertips here the roots of the thighs becoming firm. And then jumping back in, Tadasana, Uttanasana. Check that your heels aren't coming closer in towards each other. Turn them out slightly to help the inner groins roll back, hands on the hips. Press down into the feet, firm the legs. Lift and lengthen the cellular chest. And exhaling forward. Keep the heels firm. Keep the roots of the thighs gripped. Elbows back, leading with the cellular chest. And then holding onto the elbows, hanging Uttanasana. Find the feet first. Press into the forewheels of each foot. Then densify the heels. And in particular, densify the inner heels. And as you press down into the inner heels, draw the knees and the thighs upwards, up the entire length of the femur bone, until you feel the heads of the femur bones coming in The inner groins rolling back. And now exhale the armpits to the elbows. And one more time. And one more time. Releasing the hands and now holding the sides of the mat with the hands so that naturally the eyes of the elbows are facing forward and stepping back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift the heels, bend the knees, lift the buttocks, stretch the arms well. We're going to straighten the legs, pressing the heels down and drawing the femur bones into the hip sockets. Here we go. And bending the knees again, lifting the heels up, each time trying to feel more and more how the femur bone can connect into the hip socket. Here we go. And bending the knees, lifting the heels. Third and final time. And then walking back forward. Feet spread the width of the mat. Heels slightly turned out. Hanging Uttanasana. Find the inner heels, press them down. Grip the kneecaps up, grip the thigh muscles up. Widen the sit bones apart. And exhale the armpits to the elbows. And then releasing. Hands to the hips, elbows back. Pressing into the feet to come up. Elbows back, roots of the thighs firm. And standing the feet together. Tadasana. Deep inhalation. Deep exhalation. Relax the face. And releasing. Okay, coming to face again the long edge of the mat. We're coming to Virabhadrasana 2, Parshvakonasana. And jumping or stepping, nice and wide, wider than we think. Lift the inner arches, feel the legs firm, hands on hips. Elbows back, cellular chest lifting and moving forward. Turning to the right with the feet, preparing. Roots of the thighs firm. Stretch this back arm and twist the trunk to the back arm. Now roll this front shoulder back and turn the head. Now stretch the top arm, the front arm. Inhale. Exhale, begin to make a square. Coming right down so that the thigh, as much as possible, is parallel to the floor. Now we're going to work with this back arm. We're going to press this back arm down, and as we press it down, I want you to see how you can really lift the inner arch of the foot up and press into the outer foot when you do that. It kind of connects the movement. So here we go. And up, and again. Densify the outside edge of that back foot, and one more time. And now that we're fully dense there, keep that connection and extend to the right, trying to lay the right waist on the length of that front thigh. The whole length, really reaching forward. Now let's bring the hand inside today, fingertips to the floor and the top arm to the sky. Breathe. The femur bones coming into the hip sockets. Use this arm against the inner knee to traction, to turn, to twist. Over and over again, up to the sky. And now turn this top arm from the shoulder and extend the arm over diagonally to the full pose. Roots of the thighs still firm, connecting with the outside edge of that back foot. then bringing the arms back up, straightening the legs. Hands on the hips. And turning back to the middle. And now turning to the left-hand side, preparing the legs. Having that nice width. Roots of the thighs firm. And now lift that back arm, extend it, and twist the trunk to the back arm. Roll the front of the front shoulder back. Keep that twisting, and turn the head forward. Stretching that front arm. Inhale. Keep the back arm alert. Exhale. Make that square. And now we're going to play with the back arm to create extra density in the outside edge of that back foot. So as we lower the arm, lift the inner arch, press firmly into the outer edge, back up. And second time. One more time. And now let's reach to the left, really taking that length. The legs should be burning. Roots of the thighs firm, stretching ourselves, reaching, taking up the whole length of the femur bone. And then fingertips to the floor and top arm to the sky. Taking a breath here, stabilizing, re-densifying the outside edge of that back foot. And use this arm against the inner knee, the inner thigh, to traction and turn and twist from. Then turn the top arm and extend the arm diagonally over. Keep pushing to the outside edge of the back foot. Dense there. Keep turning, keep twisting. Squeeze the back inner knee. Lift the back inner groin. And then bringing the arms back up. Straightening the legs. Turning the feet in. Hands on the hips. Elbows back. Grip the legs again. And turn the heels in, the toes in. And then jumping the feet together. Tadasana. Even out the breath. Relax the face from any effort. Keep the heels dense, pressing down. And turning back to face the short edge of our mat. Heels very slightly turned out. Inner groins rolling back. Hands on the hips. Heels firm. You can lift the toes up. Roots of the thighs firm. Cellular chest lifting, broadening. Exhaling forward, leading with the cellular chest. Roots of the thighs firm. And then coming down and taking hold of the elbows. Immediately exhale the armpits to the elbows. Press into those inner heels. Lift the inner knees all the way up to the inner groins. Exhale the armpits to the elbows. Now begin to bend the knees, moving the femur bone back. And then widening the knees enough to get the torso through the squat. Keep moving the heads of the femur bones back, the hips back, the buttocks back. Coming down nice and low. Lift the toes up. Press into those feet. Activate the heels. And then slowly beginning to come up. Keep the weight moving back. The knees squeezing in. Pressing into the heels. Coming up, and just as we're about to straighten the legs, draw the femur bones into the hip sockets and straighten the legs from that action. Once again, bending the knees, Ardha Uttanasana, squatting. Moving the femur bones, the hips backwards. Go slowly. Widen the knees enough to get the trunk through. You can see your thighs as you descend. When you reach the parallel to the floor mark, stop there. Don't bring the hips deeper. Reactivate the heels, the inner heels. Press. Armpits to the elbows. And now slowly straightening the legs, pressing into the heels, gripping the roots of the thighs up to get that final straightness. Relax the face, re-broaden the shoulders. Third and final one. Find your heels, find your inner heels. Find the tops of the femurs, draw them into the hip sockets, and begin to bend, keeping those areas connected, integrated. Moving the hips back. Moving the thighs back. Widening the knees enough so that the trunk can slide through. Coming so that the thighs are parallel to the floor. Press into the inner heels. Move the hips back deeply and move the armpits to the elbows. And then slowly coming back up, pressing into those feet. And just before the legs are about to straighten, make sure your attention is on the heads of the femur bones and straighten from there by lifting up. Exhale the armpits to the elbows. And then releasing the hands to the hips, elbows back. Pressing into the feet to come up, the heels firm, the elbows back. And standing with the feet together in Tadasana. And releasing. Okay, we're now going to move to the wall for Ardha Chandrasana with our backs to the wall. So taking a block and moving our mats in so that they're parallel against the wall. Okay, so we're going to the right first. So we're placing our block on the right hand side of our mat. The right leg is facing forward. We're coming in through Trikonasana and finding Ardha Chandrasana from there. Let me move back to be sure that you can see everything. Stretch the arms up, lift the cellular chest, reaching to the right, going with the idea of length, lifting the back inner groin upwards as you reach, and drawing the head of that right femur bone into the hip, and then coming down, placing the hand on the block, and stretching the top arm. Using the wall behind us to encourage us to twist more until that top shoulder blade finds the wall. Twisting the trunk so the top shoulder blade finds the wall. Now lower the left arm along the left side of the body. We're going to bend this front knee now, drawing that right femur bone into the hip socket as we bend it. And move this block forward and move the back leg in. So we're going to lift up like this. And each time we lift, just before the leg is straightening, we're drawing attention to the head of the femur bone. Okay, so twisting and lifting. And just before it straightens, draw the head of that femur bone into the hip socket and turn and twist the top shoulder blade to the wall. And then bending the knee, lowering the arm. And again, press into the heels. Lift, charge, and just before the leg straightens, attention in the root of the thigh. and draw it in. Turn and twist. Last time, bending the front knee, lowering that top arm. And press into the foot. The heel firm, the inner heel firm, press down. And just before the leg straightens, root of the thigh into the hip socket. Turn and twist. And lighten the cellular chest. And then lowering the arm. Bending. We're going to step back. I'm going to be in the plant pots. Move the block back. And find Trikonasana. Roots of the thighs, femur bone coming into the hips. With the exhale, turn and twist. And then inhaling up. And releasing. Changing sides. So you can really feel the work that we've done on the right side. Let's bring that to the left side now. I'm going to start a little bit further back so that when I end up in it, I'm in a good space. Lifting the arms. Roots of the thighs firm. Inhale. Exhale, reaching. As much length as possible in that reachingness. Lift the inner groin of the back leg, push it into the outer hip. See how that helps. And coming down, finding the block and lifting the top arm, Uttita Trikonasana. Make sure the femur bones are coming into the hip sockets. Turning and twisting until the top shoulder blade feels the wall. And now lowering that top arm. Keep turning, keep twisting. Bending the front knee, feel the heel connect. Moving the block forward, moving the back leg in, and return the trunk. And now we begin our exploration. So lifting the leg, straightening the standing leg, lifting the top arm, and just before the leg straightens, we draw that left femur bone into the hip socket, using the muscles to grip up and lift, and we turn and twist. Cellular chest open. And bending the front knee, lowering the arm, lowering the back leg. Reconnect with the heel of the standing foot. Turn and twist and begin to press and lift. And just before the leg straightens, pull the head of that left femur bone strongly upwards, the left buttock forward, and turn and twist. Last time, lowering that arm. Keep the pressure in the heel dense. And coming back up, press into the heel as we straighten that left leg. And just before we straighten, re-grip the knees, the quadriceps, the thigh up to help pull that left femur bone into the hip. Turn and twist from there. Broaden the chest. And then bending the front knee, lowering that top arm. We're stepping back, moving the block with us. And as we straighten the leg, femur bones into the hip sockets, turn and twist, and stretch the top arm to the sky. Uttita Trikonasana. Make sure you're still pressing into the outside edge of the back foot. And then back up. And releasing. Just moving that around a little bit. Okay, let's bring our mats back to where they were. We're going to use a bolster next. So if you don't have a bolster, you can roll blankets up to make the shape of a bolster. It takes 3 blankets. And we're going to lay the bolster like that. Stepping our right leg over, the foot facing forward, moving the back knee back, and keeping that back thigh rolled in. So you really feel the hips turn to the right. One hand on each side of the hips. Now move this front foot in a little bit so that it's more in line with the pubic bone, but make sure this left leg is still in line with the left hip. Now we want to come in with our hips. So this knee is going to bend forward over the foot. The calf and the shin will be, the calf and the thigh are going to be coming closer to each other so that we can bring the front thigh to rub on the bolster and rest on the front of that foot. Fingertips pressing down, middle buttock pressing forward, cellular chest lifting, outer arms rolling back, breathing into this space. Shoulder blades going down the back. And coming out and changing sides. Left leg forward. Moving the right knee back, making sure that thigh is rolling in. Hands on each side of the hips. Now move this front foot a little bit in so it's more in line with the pubic bone, but make sure the right leg is in line with the hip. And we want to bring the hips forward. So this knee is going to go forward over the foot, the calf and the back of the thigh coming together, and rest on the top of the back foot. Fingertips pressing down into the bolster, elbows back, front shoulders back. Keep turning the hips, the front hips from the right to the left, lengthening out the length of that back leg. Pressing the middle buttocks forward as we lift and broaden the cellular chest. With each inhale, move the outer arms back. Press the shoulder blades down the back. And then exhale, releasing. And bringing the foot out. Lift the arms up, turn the palms from the shoulders. So broaden the shoulders, press them down. Bring the hands to the shoulders. Lift the elbows up, but don't let the elbows go out. So the outer arms are scooping to the inner arms to keep the elbows close. Lift the elbows higher with that scoop in place. Walking the hands, the fingertips down the back. Don't let the lower back overarch. Lift the navel to the lower back to keep that firmness there. And instead, try to move the shoulder blades both down the back, your fingertips may be able to touch them, and forward. Down the back and forward. And now stretching the arms straight to the sky, palms together. Now we're going to lift the arms up and back. So let's do it. Ready? Stretch the arms up and back. And bring the chin down, Jalandhar Bandha. Re-stretch the arms, lifting the kidneys with them. And then move the arms back, pressing the shoulder blades forward. And drop the chin even further. One more time. Lift the arms, lift the kidneys, pull the arms back, press the shoulder blades forward, and chin down even lower. Keep the arms stretching. And now lift the chin up, head back, stretch the arms, lift. Press the front thighs down, re-lift. Kidneys lifting up, and 2, and 1. Exhale, the head forward. Release the hands, bend the elbows, bring the hands back to the back. Fingertips going down the back. Keep scooping the outer arms in so the elbows are not widening. Make sure the lower back isn't arching. Try to move the hands further and further down the back and let the fingertips press the shoulder blades down and forward. Feel the armpits open more, the elbow tips lift up higher. And then bring the elbows down. Stretch the arms. Move the trapezius muscles down. Turn the hands back in. And exhale, releasing. Coming back to our bolster, the front foot will be a little bit different. The front leg will be a little bit different. So we step the right leg forward and we move this foot completely over to the left. And we come in like this so that the shin is perpendicular to the front, parallel to the front of the mat. Completely, as much as possible, parallel. The bolster is helping it to stay parallel by blocking the calf and the heel. With your fingertips on the block, roll the back leg in. Move it back. Keep it rolled in so you feel the hips turning to the right. Press into the fingertips to really feel the turning of the hips. Left pubic bone to the right pubic bone. And now we're going to come forward, keeping the hips turning to the right as we come forward, this right hip deepening back. Ujjayi, one breath. Until we can go no further, then dropping the head down. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. Allowing the pose to penetrate. Exploring, feeling, where are we resisting? Where could an exhale melt something a little bit more so that we can go a little bit deeper? And re-emerging and changing sides. Left leg forward, moving the foot across so that the shin is parallel to the front of the mat, rolling that back thigh in and really feeling the front right hip bone moving to the left. Press into the bolster to explore that twistingness. Moving the right pubic bone to the left pubic bone. And then facing forward again. And with the exhalation, entering the Yoga Mudrasana aspect of this pose. Keep feeling the hips going to the left, even though we're coming forward. Deepening that front left hip back. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, pacifying exhalation. Travel with the breath. Scan the inner body. Scan the outer body. Keep the cells alert. Keep directionalizing movement, directionalizing breath. Keep the face passive. The root of the tongue passive. Receiving the pose. And then walking the fingertips back out. And coming out. Okay, we're now going to take a block and use this bolster. We're going to sit on the block and we're going to have the bolster behind us for our hands. So coming to sit, right knee bent, left leg extended, widen the buttocks apart on the bolster, and just turn around and check that the bolster behind you is in the right spot. Make sure this knee is facing forward. Don't let it open right now. Keep the heel firm, the left heel firm, turning to the right, the hand on the outer knee. Each inhale is lengthening. Each exhale is twisting. Move the outer right arm back over and over again to get that clearing in the space of the ribs here, of the lungs on the right side. And now reaching forward and the inner elbows holding the knee. Keep the spine straight, the cellular chest lifting, and continue with the twistingness. The outer arm of the right arm moving back to get that new shape, to get in there. And now we're moving the outer elbow to the outer knee. I need to move my bolster a bit further back and continue to twist. Don't let the arm disturb the leg. So the leg and the arm must have even pressure against each other as you twist. Now move the outside right arm, the outer right arm, back with an exhale. And follow that elbow. And exhale. And releasing. Changing sides. Left leg forward, right leg extended. Widening the buttocks apart. Heels firm. Leg right in the middle. Turning, making sure that the back bolster is waiting for you. And then the hand on the outer knee. And we begin with our first stage. Each inhale lengthens the spine, really lifting the cellular chest. Each exhale turns, rotates. Both hands are helping. And the left outer arm is moving back. And now leaning forward a little bit so the inner elbow is holding the knee. Move that left hand back a little bit more. Firm the heels again. Exhaling, twisting. Move the outer left arm back. The back ribs in. Feel that spaciousness coming to the left lungs, the left waist, lifting up. And now coming in deeper, bringing the outer elbow to the outer knee. Walking that left hand back as far as you can. Keeping that even pressure between the arm and the leg. The exhale, moving the outer left arm back over and over again. Both femur bones coming into the hip sockets, cellular chest lifting. And releasing. And coming out. Okay, we're moving back to the wall and we need 2 blocks and a blanket. We're going to be doing Shirshasana preparations here, but the crown of the head is not actually going to be on the floor, so it's going to be a lot about the arms and the forearms, which is why we're just having the wall behind us and the blocks in preparation. So, 1 block like this, and then the next like this. And if you're very tall, when we come up, If this part is pressing against the cervical spine, the back of the neck, that means you're tall enough to need 2 blocks on top. I'm actually going to put this one underneath because it's a little denser. There we go. Okay, time to put our blanket in place. So we're going to unfold the whole blanket like this. And then from this, we're going to make this accordion pleat. I could do a better job there. There we go. Like that. And we're going to bring that in, and this is going to be for our head. So right here. Now I advise rolling this back bit, because when you come into the pose, you'll see that then your feet kind of end up on the blanket and it's slippery, it doesn't feel good. So just having that there. Okay, so we're coming into Shirshasana, but not really Shirshasana. We're going to interlock the fingers behind this block. And then the important thing is that we are pressing down very strongly with this part of the forearm. Down and forward, down and forward. And as we press down and slightly forward, the elbows mustn't widen. We want to keep that scoop of the elbows we looked at in this one. But we want the entire shoulder area to lift up. And that's what's holding the pose. The upper back starts to come into play. And nothing is on the head. So everything is on the forearms and coming from the upper back, gaining that stability, that strength, igniting that area. Okay, so let's give it a try. Elbows in. Press the outer wrists down and a little bit forward and broaden the shoulders. Don't let the elbows widen. One more time. Press firmly and brace from the upper back. Bring that alertness there. And now bring the crown of the head onto the blanket. Turn the toes under. Keep the outer wrist pressing down. The shoulders lifting up. Straightening the legs. And now you'll feel the blocks. See how good that feels. And of course, we're going with the blocks. So as we press the forearms down, broaden the shoulders and brace from the upper back, we then allow the block to penetrate so that the dorsal spine isn't bulging out, it's pressing in. The shoulder blades are moving down the back. Now press into the forearms enough that you can lift the head, the crown of the head off the blanket. So be fully in the arms. Make sure that the outer wrist is pressing down, that the elbows haven't gotten heavier. Really press the outer wrist down. Lift the trapezius muscles up. Back ribs in. Breathing, holding. Feeling all that strength ignite. And 2. And 1. Crown of the head back down. Bending the knees. And coming out. Okay, if you wanted to adjust, putting in a second block or maybe moving and just trying one, go ahead and do that. We're coming to our second one. Coming back in. Immediately, elbows in and press the outer wrist down and forward. Crown of the head to the blankets. Repress. Straightening the legs. Feel the blocks supporting behind. Repress in the outer wrists. Lift the trapezius muscles up. Broaden the shoulders. Lift the crown of the head off the blanket. Be just in the arms. And look carefully to see when the elbows try to take over again. Keep pressing into the outer wrists first. Shoulder blades are going to the sky and pressing in with the blocks. And 2. And 1. Coming back down. Releasing. So you can feel how we're using our arms a lot more because we're not allowing our neck and our head to take anything. Let's do that a third time. Elbows in Scooping in, shoulders broad, crown of the head. Press into the wrists firmly and lift the shoulders up. Lift the trapezius muscles up. Straighten the legs. Lift the crown of the head off the blanket. Press the forearms down. Cut the outer wrists down. Lift the shoulders up. Don't let the elbows widen. Feel the back ribs pressing in. And then exhale. And releasing. Hands coming down. Okay, so now that we've ignited that, let's move the blocks to the side. And if you want to, you can stay against the wall or not, dependent on you. And if you're not doing it against the wall, you're going to turn your blankets this way. And we're going to come to a light Shirshasana. The crown of the head will be on the blanket, but we're keeping the blanket lifted so that we can have extra push in the forearms, in particular the ulnar wrist, it's called, this part. It's kind of the karate chop part too. So keeping the blanket in place. Okay, Shirshasana. Outer arms in. Crown of the head onto the blanket. You have to adjust a little bit. Don't let the elbows widen. Now press the outer wrists down. Engage that ignite. When you press down, lift the trapezius muscles up. Feel that strength, that alertness. And then straighten the legs. Repress the forearms down. Lift the trapezius muscles up. Shoulder blades going up the back to the sky and pressing forward. Remember the imprint of the blocks behind. And then when you're ready, bending the knees. Heels to the buttocks. Press the forearms down. Lift the shoulders up. And begin to move the legs so that the kneecaps will face the sky. The knees are still bent. Keep those arms engaged. And now straightening the legs, finding Shirshasana. Press the outer wrist down. Try to ignite the same sensations that we had using the block and the wall. Relax the face. Don't let the senses of perception react to the effort. Charge the legs up to the sky. Femur bones coming into the hips. Shoulder blades going to the sky, down the back towards the buttocks, and pressing forward. Check in with your forearms. Has the weight of the elbows become heavier than the weight of the outer wrists? Move the legs back. Move the middle buttock forward. Find the outer wrist, press down. Lift the shoulders up. Watch the elbows, outer arm coming to the inner arm. Ujjayi, one breath. Reaching the legs up. The more we press down into the outer wrists, the more anti-gravitational lift we can access that rises up to the sky. And now we're going to bend our legs so that our heels are coming towards the buttocks, the kneecaps are facing the sky. Repress into the outer wrist. And now bringing the knees down towards us, towards the face. Keep the outer wrist pressing down, the shoulders lifting up, the trapezius muscles lifting up. And then unbending, the feet coming to the ground. And coming down. Yoga Mudrasana. The buttocks and hips moving back as we stretch the arms forward. Soft, smooth inhalation, soft, smooth exhalation. Okay, we're now going to move this out of the way and come back to our bolster and a strap. And we're actually going to need a blanket as well. All right, so the blanket to the side, we don't need it for the first one. We need to put the straps on our legs. So stepping in already. Like that. So not completely tight. Hip width apart. Taking the bolster, we're laying it here. And then we're coming in. Shalabhasan Dhanurasana. Our shins and the tops of our feet will be against the wall, the knees up to the wall, like this. Moving right back. You can turn and look at your legs. See how the strap is helping to keep the thighs parallel so that we don't get the lower back. And now let's look at where the bolster is. Mine's underneath my abdomen. And we want it to be underneath the ribs, the bottom front ribs and side ribs, not the abdomen. Now press the middle buttock forward and then press down into the hands and forward like the wrist of Shirshasana, down and forward to lift the cellular chest up and move the outer arms here back. Let's do it again. All right, ready? We're pressing down and forward, outer arms back, cellular chest lifting. Breathing here. With each inhale, trying to lift the cellular chest, broaden the cellular chest. Middle buttocks pressing down. And releasing. Coming for our third and final one. Making sure the elbows are connecting. Pressing the middle buttocks down already. And now we press the hands down and forward. And from that, we activate back, the upper arms moving back. The shoulder blades going down the back, pressing forward. The sternum plate broadening, lifting. Keep pressing the middle buttocks down. Breathing, soft, smooth inhales, feeding that openness. Keep the openness as you exhale. And then coming back down. And relaxing the arms, taking a little breather. Okay, we're going into the next one. The next one is same setup with the bolster. We're going to lift up like we did, engage everything. Then we're going to bring the arms back, bring the feet towards us and take hold of the front ankles and then pull ourselves back to the wall with all of those things in place. All right, make sure that the thighs are rolling in, the buttocks are pressing down. Coming into the first stage, which we know well now, so pressing down and forward, activating. Bringing the arms back. Taking hold of the front ankles. Flexing the feet. Middle buttocks pressing down. And bring those feet back towards the wall. Strongly. Outer arms moving back. Cellular chest lifting. Femur bones here into the hips. And from that, push the cellular chest forward and up. And then releasing. And hands back. Take a breath, relax the face. And second one. Preparing the legs. Pressing the middle buttock down. Pressing into the hands. Outer arms back. Shoulder blades going down the back, pressing forward. And now bring the arms back. And then take hold of the front ankles. Flex the feet. Bring the feet back towards the wall. Femur bones into the hips, middle buttocks pressing down. And from that, press the sternum plate forward. Now re-roll the outer arms back. Shoulder blades going down the back. Cellular chest lifting. And releasing. And coming forward. Taking a breath here. Releasing that effort. Coming back to Ujjayi 1. And preparing for our third and final one. So making sure the knees aren't splaying. Bringing the hands and elbows in to start lifting the chest. Pressing the middle buttock down. Feeling the femur bones coming into the hip sockets. Pressing the hands down and forward. Upper arms back. Feeling the engagement of the upper back. And now stretching the arms back at the same time. Taking hold of the front ankles, flexing the feet. Middle buttocks pressing down. Femur bones coming into the hip sockets, even here, very important. And from that, move the outer arms back. Keep rolling the outer arms back. And pressing the sternum chest forward. Back armpit to the front armpit. Cellular chest lifting. And releasing. And coming forward. Soft, smooth, deep inhalation. Soft, smooth, pacifying exhalation. And then pushing ourselves gently out, bringing the knees forward. And being in Vajrasana with the toes turned under. Elbows back, outer arms back. Belly button lifting upwards and moving back to the lower back. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. Release the shoulders. Okay, now we're going to take the strap off of our legs. And moving this bolster forward. Yoga Mudrasana. Making sure this bolster is really coming right in and taking this blanket. And we're coming forward to Yoga Mudrasana, holding onto the elbows. The forehead will be on the blanket. Exhaling forward, moving the buttocks, the groins back. Holding onto the elbows, and with your fingertips, pull the elbows forward. And forehead to the blanket. Having a soft, smooth inhale. A soft, smooth exhale. Feel Jalandhara in the ears, so the ears are spiraling inwards towards the temples. The skin of the forehead is moving towards the nose. And then lifting the head, changing the cross of the elbows. Try to move those inner elbows even further forward. Trapezius muscles going down the back and forehead to the blanket. Resuming with Ujjayi, one breath. When you inhale, you'll feel the back expand. And when you exhale, try to keep that expansion. Don't let it close. Shoulder blades going down the back. And then coming back up. And releasing. Okay, moving this blanket to the side for a second and taking our block. We're going to do a gentle twist of Baddha just to make sure that our lower backs are all in shape. So the bolster behind, like in our last twist, and the block here. We're going to be sitting with our knees on the left, our feet on the left. And I'll just show you very quickly. This is what it looks like. And then taking a seat, the knees facing forward. Now before we twist, we just want to check that we can really press the left buttock bone down. And now turning and twisting to the right, the bolster's there. And this hand is here. Immediate traction. And each exhale is moving the outer right arm back. The cellular chest lifting. The left buttock deepening. And letting go in order to change sides. Baddha on the left. Making sure that your right buttock is pressing down. And then turning to the left. entering Bharavajasa. Both hands pressing down from that, lifting the cellular chest, the outer arms back. Following that left elbow, keep the right buttock deepening, the head turning. And unwinding and releasing. Keeping this block here, let's bring the right leg into Virasana. Making sure you've really moved the calf back and out. Taking your strap and making a nice big loop like this. Both buttocks connecting. Kranchasana. Strap on the arch of the foot. With your hands, pull the knee in close to you. And still feel the femur bone deepening into that hip. And now straightening the leg. And just before it straightens completely, draw that left femur bone into the hip and from there straighten. Lift the cellular chest. Keep the femur bone coming into the hip socket. Now slide the hands down the strap a little bit in order to be able to better feel the outer arms moving back, which engages that action we've been looking at. The front shoulders back, the shoulder blades pressing forward, the cellular chest lifting, the femur bones deepening into the hip sockets. And 2. And 1. Bending the knee, pull the knee closer, and releasing. Changing sides. Left knee bent into Virasana. Preparing the strap and the strap on the arch of the foot. Using the hands to pull, to lift the foot up and to deepen here. The femur bone into the hip socket. Feel that right buttock connecting to the block. And now we're going to start to straighten the leg without dropping the knee down. So just unfolding the leg. And right before it straightens completely, be at the head of that femur bone and draw it in. Finding the straightness from there. Keep drawing it in, exploring that. Now lift the cellular chest. And now slide the hands down the strap so the elbows can bend a little. And with an exhale, move the outer arms back and get that whole engagement. The front shoulders are moving back, the collarbones are long. The shoulder blades are going down the back and pressing forward. And that right femur bone is still coming into the hip. Pull, that's it. And 3, and 2, and 1. Bending the knee. And releasing. And it is now time for Sarvangasana. So we're going to keep this equipment actually, everything except for the block. I'm going to move this out. And now we're going to use that blanket like this. There we go. And we're going to be coming into Sarvangasana, sort of like in a forward somersault. And just lifting the legs from up there. Okay, so preparing. Crown of the head to the blanket. Now move the chin towards the throat. So Jalandhara Bandha. Straightening the legs, chin towards the throat. And rolling over. Adjusting the head so you're lying right in the middle of the back of the skull. Bringing the arms behind the back, interlocking the fingers, pressing the tips of the thumbs together, and straightening the arms. rolling the shoulders back and moving the outer arms back several times until you're feeling that penetration. Keep the feet active. Press into the feet. Move the front thighs towards the thigh bone. The femur bones coming into the hip sockets. Soft, smooth inhalations and exhalations. The femur bones coming into the hip sockets. Checking the Jalandhara Bandha spiral in the ears. The ears spiraling inwards towards the temples. And now changing the interlock of the fingers behind the back. Making sure those outer arms are cutting down. The shoulder blades are pressing up. Pressing into the tips of the toes to activate the legs. Chin towards the chest. Jalandhara Bandha in the ears. And the femur bones being drawn into the hip sockets. Keep the front thighs ironing to the thigh bones. The femur bones coming into the hip sockets. And now releasing the interlock of the fingers, let's bring the arms up above us so the fingers are reaching towards the feet. You're on the backs of the hands, the palms facing up to the sky. And lifting the legs up, Niralamba Sarvangastan. As you lift the legs up, keep moving the inner groins back away from the face. So the root of the thighs is slightly rolling in towards each other, spreading all 10 toes. The knees gripped. Breathing smoothly, breathing evenly. Don't harden the eyeballs, let them recede backwards. Reach the feet up to the sky. Jalandhara Bandha in the ears. Don't harden the tongue, the lips, the forehead. Densify the heels. Middle buttock pressing forward. Front thighs ironing to the thigh bones. And then slowly begin to lower the legs. Femur bones into the hip sockets. Feet to the floor. Long, soft, smooth inhalations. Long, soft, smooth exhalations. And we're going to move the hands, preparing to come out through a chakrasana, backward somersault. So bringing the hands in place like backbend hands. Sliding the fingertips underneath the bolster. Preparing, rolling out with the exhale, keeping the chin close to the throat. So try a few times with the exhale. Just moving the hips back, preparing, getting the feeling. And when you feel that the breath and the movement are fluid and combined, rolling out. And Vajrasana. Outer arms back, front shoulders back. And releasing. Okay, one last pose left before Shavasana. We're going to do Jatara Parivartanasana. So I'm just going to move this out to the side for now. And I'm going to turn this way, and I want you to do the same on your mat because we're going to use our hands to hold the mat in our twistingness. So stretch the arms out, make sure the hands are in line with the shoulders, no higher and no lower, in line. And then you can hold the mat like this and turn so that the front shoulders rolling back and the outer arms are rolling back too. And we're re-engaging in that way, in that really healthy, alert way. Okay, bring the feet off the floor. Straighten the legs to Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Femur bones coming into the hip sockets. And now lift the hips, move them to the left. And when you're ready, exhale the legs down. Inhale. And exhale, turn to the left. Use the hands on the mat to help you access the upper back, the shoulders, through the arms. So the arms become like the legs, the hands become like the feet. As you press down and away from each other through the hands using the mat, you can better lengthen, broaden, turn and twist, feeling the back ribs, feeling how that left shoulder blade moves towards the right shoulder blade as we twist, yielding, and the femur bones coming into the hip sockets. And preparing to lift the legs back up and lift. Bend the knees, place the feet on the floor and make sure you're in the middle. Recalibrate the arms, the hands, and now feet off and straighten the legs to the sky. Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Lift the hips and buttocks, move them to the right. Connect with the purpose of the arms and the hands, the shoulders. Feel the shoulder blades moving down the back and pressing up. And exhaling to Jatara Parivartanasana. Inhale. And exhale, turning and twisting to the right. Using the hands on the mat to press down and away from each other. Rolling, turning. Getting into those back ribs, the intercostal muscles stretching, and the right shoulder blade moving towards the left shoulder blade. Over and over again. Femur bones coming into the hip sockets. And preparing to come up. Lifting. Bending the knees and coming down. And just bringing the knees towards the chest. Dvipada Supta Pavanamuktasan, resting here. Relaxing the face, relaxing the abdominal cavity completely. The femur bones coming into the hip sockets, the inner knees touching. And the sternum plate lifting and broadening. And finally, I think we are absolutely ready for the spacious surrender of Shavasana. So let's roll over and let's take that bolster, place it here. Let's take 2 blocks. Let me move my legs so you can see. Placing it here, placing them here. Strap if you like to cover your eyes. Blanket. And coming in. Lying down. Moving the bolster a little bit away as needed. Making sure the buttocks are moving towards the bolster. And so if you put your hands on your abdomen, on the top of the pubic bone and the lower abdomen, as the buttocks move towards the bolster, you should be able to gently feel the pubic bone in the lower abdomen coming up towards the belly button and sinking down towards the lower back. So the organs are effectively lifting because we've tilted the pelvis so that their droppingness is in a healthy direction. It's going down and lifting up. And then the arms can either be like this, 45 degrees away from the sides of the chest, or they can be like this, making 90-degree angles. The chin is coming close to the throat. And with an exhale, closing the eyelids and entering Shavasana. Now we're gently just wiggling our toes, our feet lightly, until we feel able to move the legs so that we're crossing the right ankle underneath the left. Sukhasana, on the bolster. And with an exhale, relax the abdomen completely. Relax the face. Now changing the cross of the ankles. Left ankle under the right. Relaxing the legs back to the bolster. And with an exhale, relax the abdomen downwards. And now uncrossing the ankles, and we're going to roll over and gently off the blocks, extending the right arm underneath the side of the head, the ear, the knees coming together. And with an exhale, relax profoundly. And then finally, using our hands to come back up. The eyelids will be ready to open because we made our way really slowly and incrementally out of our Shavasana. Welcome back. Our practice is complete. Namaste. Take care. Hope we practice again together soon.